welcome back to our huddle with the brilliant EuRA Board. Sorry, we all decided we would be compliant to the new Zoom rules and make sure we're in our masks. So at least some of us are compliant. It's a bit like, it's the global debate, where or not to wear.
Put them on now, there we go.
It's great to see you all. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
So listen, let's do a quick snapshot of what's going on around the world in which we find ourselves. I'm going to start in reverse order this time. Michelle, Madame la Présidente, how are you?
Merci. I am doing very well, thank you, Dom. And the newest situation in Denmark, we are just give you a brief overview. The numbers are still quite low, under 25 in the hospital, less than 5 on respirators. So we're very happy about that. The newest thing is in rush hour, they're asking you to don a mask. But my colleagues were saying that even this morning, there's just not that many people riding. Well, people haven't really come back from holiday yet. So as the population comes back from holiday, there might be a little spike. But so far it's been good. They have a testing center at the airport, you have to go outside of the airport, but it's there, it's open till midnight. So you can get your test, get off the plane, get your test, and you usually have the results within 24 hours to, yeah. And we got ours, we went and had a test because I've just come back from holiday and COVID free, but we'll get tested again this weekend just because they don't know, just to make sure.
Is that voluntary?
It's voluntary and it's free. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And business travelers can come and go just as before. That's open. Private parties of 100 people. So yeah, we're still doing well. Happy to say, happy to report. So
that's great to hear. It's so extraordinary how different things are.
Yeah.
Simon, I'm going to come to you next. Simon, how are things in the UK right now? And how are you, first of all? Sorry, that was very rude. How are you?
Well, I'm very well. I've had my COVID test and I'm as well negative, so that's all good. In the UK, I think it's slightly worrying. I think there's in certain areas of the UK the R rate is going up again, and they're having sort of localized lockdowns and different precautions put into place. We're all now wearing face masks to go into any retail establishment or takeaways or that as well. But pubs have reopened and which has been, I think, been a lot of success. But I think there is a slow change, and I think some people maybe were slightly running before walking. And I think caution needs to be there. I think as an industry, the guys might also comment. I think we're slowly coming back. I think different areas are coming back quicker than other areas. Our domestic business is certainly going much, much faster than we anticipated, which is really good. And our own direct clients are moving forward, which is good news as well. It's more the third party work that we get where it's it's not necessarily moving in the right direction. It's sort of standing or staying. What's the word I'm looking for? It's staying on a level plane. It's not moving up. It's not moving down. It's not going up. But it's just constant without necessarily breaking any records, I think.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear things are moving on. Andrew, how are you? And what can you add to what Simon was just saying about the UK?
I'm good, thank you. And I did have a COVID test. I think I might have shared with some of you. It was 14 weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for the results. So.
Track and trace at its finest.
Yeah. But no, all good. Yeah, I think just a couple of things to say, just throw on top of what Simon was saying. I mean, in terms of, I suppose, COVID, there seems to be, or we're hearing kind of more flare-ups, so there's certain hotspots around the country, and so that's very much kind of headline news last I guess as a country, we get our heads around how we're going to deal with this going forward, because potentially, you know, they're saying this is likely to happen more frequently. So masks are mandatory in all shops, but not in pubs. So I don't quite know whether there's a logic there or not, but anyway, we'll follow the rules. And yeah, I mean, from a business point of view, in terms of in Europe, we're kind of gradually seeing week on week more orders coming through. Still, the kind of lead time is kind of somewhat accentuated compared to what we were perhaps used to in the past, because people aren't necessarily, you know, there's no necessarily fixed date as to when they're going to arrive. There are with some, but perhaps more there aren't. So it's kind of how do we manage that with appropriate resources, etc. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of the new norm, isn't it? So we're just kind of focused on, you know, making sure that we're kind of looking after our folks as best we can, and the customers. I mean, one exciting thing, we're going to be rebranding what was the Oakwood Global Solutions business that we've got our arms around. That's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, so we're kind of quite excited. So what's going on behind the scenes there. So yeah, we're doing okay, but would like the results of my test. Anyone out there just happens to have seen the envelope with my name on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andrew. It's good to hear from you, as it always is. I'm going to leapfrog because, Isabel Fremont, you have got a dodgy connection, but right now it looks good. So I'm going to capitalize on that. How are you? It's lovely to see you.
I'm good, thank you. As most of you, I had my first test as well, negative, happy to say. The office was really happy as well. So it's an experience, only 24 hours, so we're doing better than for Andrew. We see in the Benelux the numbers of positive people going up, but we do also a lot more tests than we used to, so we don't know. Less people are going to the hospital and are heavily, not too much people are heavily sick, so that's a good news. We have some travel restriction in Luxembourg when you go on holiday, when you come back. So that's also something we need to monitor. But I'm going to join Andrew in terms of business. We've seen the last 2 weeks, the business has really picked up, but with delivery time would be September, October, but we are almost at the same level than we were last year for July. So that was good news.
Wow,
really
that's great to hear.
So yeah, quite happy times at the moment.
Oh, fingers crossed. It's such a this is such a roller coaster, isn't it? I'm gonna get, thank you. It's lovely to see you. Alistair, I'm coming to you next. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Just to really add to what Simon and Andrew have already said, I think the current state of play in the UK is exactly as they've outlined. So local lockdowns coming into place with little or no notice. So sometimes the government announces a certain country are back to pretty strict restrictions the night before, particularly at the moment in the north of the country. And then from what I've read, the mathematical modelling is all about how many people we can test and how many of those we can then trace that they've been in touch with. And if we can keep those numbers between sort of 60 and 70% of the population, which we're not at the moment, then hopefully we can avoid a second wave being worse than the first towards the end of the year and the beginning of next. So it almost feels at the moment in terms of preparation that we're trying to learn from what seemingly didn't go brilliantly in March and April to prepare for November, December, January time. So yeah, cautiously optimistic, I think that's the overused phrase at the moment. And then in terms of our industry and RSS, I'm in agreement with Isabel. We had a very quiet April, obviously, in terms of work coming in, and a pretty quiet May, but then June and July, number of new initiations was pretty much the same as last year.
Wow. So
not what I was expecting at all, certainly not what we were forecasting to happen. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. And people are actually physically moving. So people are moving into properties and we're actually able to invoice. So we thought we'd be making a loss, and that's not the case. We're making a profit again, which is a surprise, but is great. And I think I've said on other excuse me, on other calls before, I think one of the few things that the UK government has done really, really well is look after small businesses. So when I talk to other DSPs around the world, I think they're quite envious of the furlough scheme and grants and loans that's been available for all small businesses. So that's been amazing. That's been really, really good. It's worked like clockwork and it's been a massive help. So yeah, we kind of feel like we've got through the first phase of this relatively unscathed, and now just kind of preparing and trying to plan again for the second wave and however that may work. But fingers crossed and definitely cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Michelle, I know you've got to drop off the call. Bye. Lovely to see
Bye.
you as always.
Bye.
See you next time. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Thank you. And thanks for putting the perspective there in terms of the way that small business has been treated, because I know that's been very powerful here. Irina, I'm going to come to you. Hello, it's lovely to see you. How are you?
Good to see you too. I'm very good, actually. Well, things here in Russia are sort of developing and moving. So we're slowly getting used to things coming back to normal, at least to a certain extent. So the good news for us is as an industry essentially is that the international flights are being slowly restored. For now, though, it's only UK, and yesterday they've announced Switzerland opens up the flights early August, and then Turkey, and the weirdest thing is that Tanzania is also on the list. So whoever so look forward to the volume of expatriates coming from there. So that's good. And in terms of the work permits, the process could be reinstated again. So now we can apply for work permits, but now there's a special process that first you need to get an approval from the relevant ministry that sort of pre-approves the work permit application before we can submit. And that's a tricky process because there is no clear procedure of how that's going to be done, which ministry exactly you're going to go to. So it's a bit of a mess. But at least there is some movement. Now we've learned to be very happy with very little. For everyone coming in, there is 14-day quarantine for most coming in, 14-day quarantine, and on top of that, you need to provide a COVID test that either has been done within 3 days before leaving, or that needs to be done within 3 days after you arrive. Although you still need to do the quarantine. So. The numbers in terms of COVID are actually good. There are more people being cured than being positively tested. Now we are, I think, around 5,000 a day that are being positively tested per country. And we used to be at the peak, we used to be at 8,000 just in Moscow only. So it's been it's been a good tendency in a way. Business-wise, things are definitely picking up domestically. There are a number of companies who I thought, even like major IT companies who I thought going to be very happy with remote everything, but they're back to moving people, both philo and household goods. International, but generally my sense of the business at the moment compared to what we sort of used to be, things are slow. You get the authorization, but it takes a lot of time until the person knows when they're leaving, when you get the paperwork. So somehow things, the steps to the process have become much longer, although you're putting in the work throughout all this steps. So it just takes more efforts from us. And I would say for us now, I'm seeing that the authorizations come in fairly inefficient. So you do the work, there are a lot of cancellations, there are a lot of postponement. So it's a lot of work, but it's not sort of as efficient in its results as it has been before. I'm not sure whether that's sort of an interim period where we're all adapting to the new things, where things are changing, or maybe that's the new norm, that we will adapt to and will consider a norm. So that's business-wise. Interestingly, the team is super busy, everyone, but I get now the sense of feeling everyone is quite tired, for a very long time. They were super optimistic. They were full of energy, we're in these absolutely unique circumstances. We're working remotely. We have this work-life balance we've been talking about for so many years. But either the pressure of things being unstable and things are being in the unknown all the time, or it's just you've been putting in so much energy and efforts into genuinely, I think that morally more so than physically, people are tired, although they haven't been doing as many home searches or like applications or anything. So we're now brainstorming, how do we support them? How do we keep their spirits up? Because there's not much to do in terms of vacation, right? People are not, previously they would have gone places, but now a lot of people are thinking, well, I won't travel until the vaccine, or I don't feel comfortable traveling, or well, you have Turkey and Tanzania and UK to travel to, so it's or domestically. So that's sort of these are the key things for us, is running the business. And at the same time, the big question is how whether there is something what is new that we can offer right now, right? How can we what are the new things that this new reality needs, sort of, these are the two key things that are on our mind in terms of running the company.
It's really interesting. And what you say about people being tired, there's kind of like COVID fatigue,
Yeah.
And I think it's quite physical. I think people are physically tired. It's quite stressful.
Yeah.
And from that point of view, thanks, Irina. It's always lovely to talk to you. Susanna, I'm going to come to you next, if that's okay, because it's a very different scenario in Spain. I guess people are not so much tired as freaked out again.
Both. I think it's a question of people are very tired, as you say, and it just drags on. But our rate has gone up quite a lot, and it's gone up a lot in the pub areas, and a lot of the youths are now getting COVID, and they're saying that our hospital beds are now beginning to fill up rapidly too. So we have to wear masks always, in a bar, everywhere. You can put it on and then take it off, have a drink, and then put it back on. It's so it just takes the fun out of going out. So understandably, you have to be very careful, but it's not the best to go out like that. So a lot of people are getting very frustrated with that. A lot of local small businesses, bars, pubs, restaurants are all struggling a lot. The groups that we have now are going to be limited in some places again back to 10 people. So a lot of people, for example, put their weddings off from March or April or May to September, and it's going to be touch and go whether they're going to be able to do this. So yeah, the mood is very strange. A lot of people are not going to go on holidays. They're not going to hotels. A lot of the sort of Airbnb type places around the countryside and the coast are fully booked. But otherwise, people are going to stay at home wherever they are, because people are very scared. It seems to be opening up at quite scary speed. So yeah, it's a question of watch the space and be very careful. We still have a lot of people that are furloughed, and the other day they were talking whether they would have to extend that furlough again. People obviously still working from home a lot. We are apparently got the highest unemployment rate now. Businesses are very, very worried. The economy is struggling. So schools, there's beginning to be letters being sent, maybe the school won't be starting in September, maybe, probably. Nobody knows how it's going to end up, but yeah. So the mood is still, people are it's summer, it's very, very hot. It's been very, very hot. We've had heat waves here, so it's been tough, but people are still there, tired, very tired now of this, and as many people say, until the vaccine is up and we can start feeling a bit more relaxed about all of this story. So
and this is originally the news that we were seeing was that this was quite regional. It was more the north of Spain, Catalonia, Galicia. Is that still the case?
That's very much still the case, and a lot of it is going on at parties or places like this, get-togethers. But yeah, Barcelona and surrounding areas are hit a lot worse. Madrid isn't so bad, for example. Valladolid has had a party or something. So now every time you go into a bar, into a nightclub or something, you have to leave all your details so that they can trace you to see if somebody has had tested positively for the COVID, then they can chase everybody around that has been in that same place. So yeah, and we've had the Brexit thing here is now taking effect, and we can now start applying for Brexit permits. So they're no longer EU's. So that's one of the new things that we have here, is that we are now starting to do the Brexit permits for the British. And then there's been changes to the social security. So there's a lot of things going on in the industry with this. We have been booking quite a lot of work, which is good. People are coming over. We are doing home findings. We are finalizing, and as Alistair says, billing, which is the important thing. So there's still. We were very surprised too, as most of you, with how much, the bookings that are taking place, because admittedly mostly for September, October. But we were quite surprised about the fact that people were still booking, seeing as things are still very uncertain around.
It's really interesting, because on the one hand there's this kind of tension and everybody's still very scared of this disease, and then on the other hand we just all want to go back to normal, because like you say, we're all tired of it now. So,
yeah. But otherwise good, everything's good. So
thanks,
yeah.
Susanna, it's lovely to see you.
Thank you, lovely to see you guys.
Sophie, it's lovely to see you. How are you? How are you doing?
Good.
Good. How's life in Germany?
Difficult, because Germany also has numbers that are continuing to rise. I think similar to what Simon said about the UK, it's specific hotspots that are dealt with locally, but they are increasing, and we have some stuff of big weddings taking place, and then 150 people from the same wedding party catching it and then spreading it to another. So I find it worrying. I think what Simon said is the right way to put it. There is, of course, also now quite a large population of the young tribe that are going to party spots, bringing it back in, whether that's Spain or Croatia or wherever they're deciding to go. And I mean, that's the same basically for European countries. I don't know whether to believe in the second wave or not. I think we haven't actually dealt with the first one. I think we're still in it. And I'm quite anxious to see what happens when people do actually go on holiday and come back, and we probably won't see until about September what's going to happen. Germany's now reinstated a high risk, not a travel ban, but a travel advice for Spain. I know that a couple of countries, including the UK, are thinking about having one for Germany again. So it's touch and go. I think we're still all wearing masks. Of course, Germany, we're good law-abiding citizens, so we all wear them. I meet very few people that take this lightly. I think that even if you're not necessarily a target group that will potentially pass away if you get COVID, the effect that it has on your family and the people around you and your employment and whatever else are quite significant. So everybody's, you know, quite on board. In terms of the business, we're doing a lot better than we thought we would be doing now. So, but I sort of agree with both EuRA and what Simon and Alistair have been saying. So yes, there's a big number of initiations, way more than we expected. But at the same time, we're spending a lot of time on getting things and moving them from A to B and postponing start dates and getting new approvals from the employment agencies and going back and forth. And I mean, German authorities are just super funny. So for example, they've closed a number of consulates, and I mean, for Canada, for example, they've closed 4 and now there's only 1 consulate. So if you want to apply for a visa from a German consulate, you've got to go from all the way across the country to this 1 consulate that's open. And I just can't believe in a pandemic situation that's necessarily a good idea for anybody to do, but who am I? So we've got a lot going on. Even more interested to hear that Susanna's already able to work on Brexit, because we're not, or only very. I wish we were, because it would, you know, it would relieve some of the stress that we were expecting towards the change of the calendar year. And yeah, we're just gonna need to see. I mean, we don't know. I'm, to be honest, going on holiday is one of the last things on my mind at the moment. But I understand that for me, that's different for us as owners, and than it is for a lot of other peoples that are just quite desperate to get out, which is also, of course, valid. You've been in for long, and so we'll just need to see what happens. It's touch and go, I think. It's all about being flexible.
It really is, isn't it? And I mean, that's kind of the message I'm getting from everybody. And it's really interesting to do this because we're all in very diverse situations. Thanks, Sophie. It's lovely to see you. Isabel Cadell, it is lovely to see you too. How are you?
Hello. We're doing good. Thank you very much.
Good.
Hello from sunny Portugal. Situations here is like it's a bit crazy because we had a central area, so that meant lockdown, which is already difficult to manage in itself. And then, as you've also heard, what they've been calling the touristic corridors, so nationalities allowed out or with or without quarantine, they also change every week. And because Portugal is a country that depends quite a lot on tourism, of course, this is very seriously affecting the economy. Not the only one. It's a big great rules.
Sorry, you broke.
And then, just like last other week, business-wise, considering our work and well, all of our work depends a lot on border control and immigration. All that is being postponed. Consulates are also partially closed. So that's, of course, still affecting very much our day-to-day in managing files that were already initiated and should have been closed or on the go to relocation by now. And it's been postponed. Other than that, local IT companies are still having a lot of work, so that's good because we work with quite a lot of local IT companies, and they've been keeping us busy, which is also good news. So I'm not so optimistic in terms of global economic recovery. I don't think anybody in the world is, but from a very local perspective, we're managing the postponing, not the cancellation, which is already good news. This is take the opportunity to congratulate everyone watching this short video for the fantastic show up on the training, because that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And just before we went on recording, Tad and Dom were sharing us the fantastic results of the training, and hooray for everybody who took this opportunity.
That's really good. I'm sorry we keep losing you there just slightly. I'm so sorry about that because it's fascinating to.
Sorry. I'm hearing you very well.
Okay, we're not hearing you so well. I'm so sorry.
We could hear
okay.
keywords.
We could hear
Keywords like fantastic MIM training.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much.
I got that bit.
Yes. I was just going to say to Irina, thank you very much, because you asked all your people to tell us what you thought of the MIM training, and I was really pleased to have that, because we haven't been able to roll out the normal evaluation system that we would do because of just the sheer numbers of people. Tad, very finally, how are you?
Oh, finally. I'm absolutely fine. I've got very little to add to what the other fellows have said about the UK, except I did hear that somebody decided there's talk of closing all pubs and restaurants so that the children can go back to school.
Because they spend too much time in the pub. I mean, come on.
I know. But I was thinking to myself, so I'm not quite sure how that works, but they were saying, children's education is far more important than going and having a drink or
Speak for yourself.
But it was an interesting development. Other than that, EuRA is okay. We're fine. We're working on the full forum. We're looking forward to seeing everybody whenever we can, and we will just continue going and trying to support members through this very awkward period until things really do straighten out properly.
Yeah.
So that's all I need to say.
Absolutely, I would second that. I think, like I say, it's just amazing how every time we do this, how quickly things have changed. I mean, the last time we were talking about our next board meeting, which is scheduled for the beginning of October. Now, that's, again, we're like, will that happen? Won't that happen? We're all in this VUCA situation really together. But it's always fantastic to connect. Thank you so much, all of you, for taking the time and for being so supportive of EuRA and the wider membership of EuRA. You are brilliant, and thank you very much for everything that you bring and everything that you give. And in the meantime, we'll see each other again in 2 weeks' time. And in the meantime, stay safe, everybody. Lovely to see you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.